am Moana of Moturim. I live on an island in the South Pacific, and I was always drawn to the ocean, but my parents would never let me go beyond my island's barrier reef. One day, my grandmother told me that my ancestors were wayfarers. They sailed across the whole ocean and had great adventures. When our dark force started to threaten my island, I wanted to help, and the ocean actually chose me to do it. I felt so torn between wanting to please my parents and honor my ancestors, but ultimately I followed the call of the ocean, and I discovered just how brave I could be. I saved my island and my people, and I did it by bringing people and nature together.
When I saw the movie Moana, I loved how it relates to a world problem with climate change. In Moana, the crops are failing, the coconuts are turning black, and the lagoon is basically all fished out. Today we have rising sea levels, melting glaciers, and a lot of human activities that are making things worse. I've been trying to participate in community cleanups. Last week we picked up cans and other litter. I don't understand when people throw their trash in the street. I admire Greta Thunberg, the face of the young climate movement, who last September led the largest climate strike in history. She wants to make the world a better place, and so do I. I am Greta Thunberg. I first heard about climate change when I was 8 years old. My school said to stop wasting paper and to turn off the lights. But I noticed that adults talked about it, but didn't follow their own advice. You may know that I have Asperger's syndrome, and I take things quite literally. If someone tells me there is an existential threat and it isn't their top priority, I find that weird. Sometimes I think we autistic are the normal ones and the rest of people are pretty weird. So I thought I need to do something. To protest the lack of action on climate change, I started sitting outside the parliament in Sweden, where I live, on August 20, 2018, and there's been a worldwide response. If the emissions have to stop for the world to survive, then we have to stop the emissions. To me, that's black and white. There are no gray areas when it comes to survival.
The teenager that I admire also believes there are no gray areas. Emma Gonzalez sprayed the school shooting on Valentine's Day 2018 in Parkland, Florida. She then went on to co-found Never Again, a gun control organization. 2 years ago at the March for Our Lives, Emma gave an amazing speech which included 6 minutes and 20 seconds of silence, the amount of time it took a shooter to kill 17 people at her school. I was too young to watch the speech then, but when I watch it now and see her standing there, tears streaming down her face, I want to be a brave activist, just like Emma. Can you believe this past March 2020 was the first one in my entire life with no school shootings? And that's because for most of the month, there was no school. Is that the only way to prevent shootings? Keep everyone home? That's ridiculous. It's been 2 years since the March for Our Lives, but I'm still fighting. Lawmakers are afraid to act, but I tell them, if you are in a place of power, you need to act for everyone, not just you and the people who give you money. Stop allowing violence to persist and stop being surprised when young people are kinder and gentler than you are. I will keep fighting for as long as it takes.
I don't understand why adults are so surprised at things kids can do. Don't they remember being kids themselves? Being sad because of COVID-19 makes me feel like a fairy tale princess, like Rapunzel, shut up in her castle. But even before quarantine time, I admired Rapunzel because her beautiful long hair. Her hair and even her tears have healing powers. That reminds me of one time when my friend fell off the playing structure. Even though a teacher was there, I checked on him to make sure he was okay. I would love to have magical healing powers like Rapunzel, but in the meantime, I'll use what I do have, kindness and empathy, to help others. You may envy me, Rapunzel, because I have beautiful long hair that glows when I sing. Well, it used to glow when I sang, and it used to be quite long. Quite long. But that was before Eugene cut it all off to save me from my life of imprisonment.
the end of a very long story. The most important thing was, I went out into the world and I wasn't scared anymore. I was brave enough to make some new friends and conquer some unfriendly types to become nicer. They lost their hopes and I helped them find their dreams. And, oh yes, I found mine as well.
One of my dreams is to invent something that will help the world. I'm especially interested in animals and nature. I love swimming in the ocean and seeing all the small fish and other marine life. I've always heard that the ocean is self-cleaning, but recently learned that we need to help it out because so many people throw plastic in the water. I read about Boyan Salat, who was 16 and fishing, when he noticed there was more plastic in the water than fish. I'll let him tell the story. It's ridiculous. If we want to buy a biscuit nowadays, we have to buy a biscuit inside a plastic wrapper, within a plastic tray, within a cardboard box, within a plastic bag. It's a biscuit, not nuclear waste, and much of that ends up being tossed, ending up in rivers and flowing into the oceans. So how to clean it up? I was told it can't be done. When someone tells me something can't be done, I'm more determined than ever to do it. So I invented a system that takes desire of the ocean's desire to self-clean, and we're on our way to reaching our goals. The awesome surprise for me was that if we sold all the plastic retrieved from this operation, we'd make over $500 million, which is in fact more than the plan would cost to execute. In other words, it's profitable. But I believe that the key thing is that if we remember that change is more important than money, money will come. And yes, it will be one of the largest environmental operations yet. But we created this mess and we can clean it up together.
I'm also an environmental activist. But you know me better as Ginny Weasley from the Harry Potter movies. Hi, I'm actress Bonnie Wright, and today I'm here to talk about the ocean. I'm a surfer, and I've loved the ocean since I was young, going to the shore with my family in England. But in recent years, I've been feeling totally overwhelmed by the shocking images of trash-covered beaches and turtles choking on plastic straws. I wanted to take action, so I decided to talk to the amazing organization, Greenpeace. Now I'm a Greenpeace Ocean Ambassador, trying to raise awareness for the environment. This journey has taken me from the blue waters of the Bahamas to the concrete jungle of Coca-Cola headquarters in Atlanta. I am inspired by the overly conscious global community and people wanting to take action. This is our home, and we should be doing everything we can to protect its beauty and abundance.
I've always loved Greek mythology. One of the earliest stories I remember is about Athena and Arachne. Maybe you've heard it. Arachne is a young girl who loved to weave. She boasted that her weaving was better than Athena's, who was a goddess of craft and wisdom. Athena challenged her. Arachne agreed as she lost a weaving competition, she would never touch a loom or a spindle again. No surprise, who can beat the goddess at her own game? Arachne lost and she was crying because she loved nothing better than weaving. How could she face a life with no weaving? Athena took pity on her and turned her into a spider so she could happily weave all day and night. Some people find that to be a happy ending, but I'm terrified of spiders, so I can't agree. But one thing I love about Greek mythology is that it isn't like a fairy tale. It doesn't always have a perfectly happy ending. It's kind of mixed, like the story of Athena and Arachne. So because I love myths and the Percy Jackson books, which are based on myths, and especially the character of Annabeth because she is so loyal to her friends, I'll let her explain. My mother is Athena and my father is a college professor. They call kids like us demigods, half god, half mortal. People say I look like a typical California girl with my blonde hair and everything. But when they look closer, they see my eyes. Percy says they look fierce like storm clouds, like I'm analyzing the best way to take them down in the fight, which I probably am. But the thing is, I'm a great friend. I do anything for Percy. My friends are like my family because my real family, well, let's just say goddesses don't stick around like real ones. My dad asked Athena to take me back and raise me on Olympus because he was too busy with his work. And my stepmom hates me. Typical story, I guess, but the not so typical part is when I ran away when I was 7, found a new home, filled with demigods like me. I'm there for them, and they're always there for me. It's certainly not a safe and cozy life, but it's one that suits me perfectly.
My life was pretty safe and cozy right up until the day I entered the Wonka chocolate factory. Sure, the whole Bucket family was half starved most of the time, but our small home was always filled with love, and it helped out my parents as best they could with my grandparents. I'll never forget the day where I bought a Wonka bar and found a golden ticket. The perfect blend of Belgian dark chocolate and New World light with subtle overtones of Moroccan espresso. But anyways, back to the point. With the golden ticket, I got to enter the Wonka factory and actually won the prize. I was able to take care of my family forever, with a wonderful life inside the best chocolate factory in the whole world.
I have a very different family situation. My name is Matilda Wormwood, and my mother and father are horrible. They are straight up neglectful. They pay so little attention to me that I had to tell them I was actually 6 and a half, and I needed to go to school. They thought I was 4, so I escaped into books. Books showed me new worlds and amazing people who lived exciting lives. I traveled all over the world while sitting in my little room. Maybe it was reading about these heroic people that gave me the courage to stick up for my friends in school when no one else would. Or maybe it was pure anger that brought on my special powers. They're called telekinesis. The first time it happened, I felt most wonderfully the power surging up behind my eyes and gushing like a warm fluid inside my skull. My eyes became scorching hot, hotter than ever before, and my power came bursting out of my eye sockets when the piece of chocolate lifted itself up and began to write. It seemed as though I had hardly done anything. It had all been so simple.
That sounds amazing. I wish everything had been so simple for me. Let me start off by introducing myself. My name is Remy and I'm a rat. Yes, a rat. But a rat who's always dreamed big. You may have heard my story from the movie Ratatouille, but that's getting ahead of my story. You see, I've always wanted to become a great chef in Paris. You may think that's a strange dream for a rat, but I've always believed with hard work and a little bit of luck, it was only a matter of time before I got discovered. My parents didn't support me either. My dad just told me, shut up and eat your garbage. But I answered, you are what you eat. So I only eat the good stuff. And under a set of amazing circumstances, I teamed up with a young and frankly incompetent chef, and we started creating amazing foods. We even opened up our own restaurant. And I believe, as one food critic Anton Ego once said, not everyone can become an artist, but an artist can come from anywhere.
Like Matilda, I always had my nose stuck in books. Like Remy, I always had big dreams. But in the small town where I grew up, everyone had their place. I was just Pell, the daughter of the local crackpot inventor. When I wandered around the market reading, the other girls would laugh at me. They couldn't understand why I said no to Gaston. They all wanted him just because he was good looking. Well, at least they thought he was good looking. I was seeking adventure in the great wide somewhere. Adventure didn't come in the way I imagined. But when my father was kidnapped, I did what I had to do, to save him. Some people still criticize me for ending up with my kidnapper. I get it. When you put it like that, it sounds pretty creepy. But underneath that spell and hideous exterior, the beast is actually a wonderful person. And as we continue our lives together, I now have the freedom to be an inventor myself and spend as much time as I like in the library.
It's been fun talking about teenagers, real and imagined, by either inventing something or making the world a better place. But I'd like to remind everyone about the older heroes who paved their way before us. Ironically, I took a stand by sitting down. My name is Rosa Parks, and on December 1st, 1955, I was riding the bus home from my job at the Montgomery department store. I was exhausted from being on my feet all day when the bus driver told me to move. Back then, buses were segregated, which means there was a black and white section. But you see, I was already in the black section. The bus drivers wanted to make the white section bigger. I was tired. Not just physically tired, I was sick and tired of all that giving in. So I refused to give up my seat. I was arrested and thrown in jail. You might think that was horrible, which it was, but it set me on a new path. I became one of the most influential civil rights leaders in the world. On the day of my trial, December 5th, 1955, other civil rights leaders refused to ride city buses. The next 381 days became known as the Montgomery Bus Boycott. Racism is still an unresolved problem in American society today. I would like to be remembered as someone who wanted to be free so other people could be free.
I believe it is not enough to take care of people. I'm Jane Goodall, and I spent my life speaking for those who cannot speak for themselves, living with and researching chimpanzees. When I was a toddler, my parents gave me a toy chimpanzee, and I carried that everywhere. When I was 5, I hid in the hen house for hours, trying to understand where the eggs came from. When my parents found me, they were furious. But when my mother saw how excited I was, she sat me down and listened to my story rather than scolding me. I'm happy that I had parents who encouraged my interest in animals. My mother always said, Jane, if you really want something and you work really hard for it and never give up, you will find a way. And that's exactly what I did.
My mother died when I was 13, making me an orphan. I pretended to be 11 so I'd have a better chance of getting on apprenticeship. And my precociousness may have also helped me get into King's College. Hey, us orphans have to use all our brains to get ahead. By now, everyone knows I got a lot farther by working a lot harder by being a self-starter. I was always looking for something bigger, so I went to New York to be a new man. Orphans, we can recreate ourselves. I did. You know I did. What's my name? Alexander Hamilton.